You know, people still think wars are fought with tanks and bombs. That's cute. In 2025, wars are fought with chips, bandwidth, and influence. The real power moves are happening behind closed doors, across fiber optic cables, inside code, and in boardrooms. America versus China isn't a headline anymore, it's a structure. A system, a shift you feel even if you don't understand it yet. And if you think this is just about politics, you've already missed the point. This is economic muscle, tech supremacy, military positioning, and global trust colliding at full speed. Let's get this straight. The US GDP sits at about $28 trillion right now. China's at roughly 18.6 trillion. Still behind, yes, but in 2000, China's entire economy was smaller than California's. Now it's the second largest economy on Earth, and in PPP terms, purchasing power parity, China's already number one. That's not opinion. That's World Bank data. And while American politicians argue over TikTok bans, Beijing is laying down fiber in Africa, buying ports in Europe, and building railways in Latin America. Over 150 countries have signed onto the Belt and Road Initiative. That's not a trade plan, that's a global map redraw. But let's talk tech, because that's where this gets personal. Every time you use an AI tool, stream content, or plug into a network, you're part of this war. Right now, 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors are produced in Taiwan. One single company, TSMC, holds more power than some governments. And China considers Taiwan a domestic issue. You see the problem, right? One flashpoint, one blockade, and half the world's devices go dark. America knows this. That's why it's throwing billions into the CHIPS Act, trying to bring production home. Intel, GlobalFoundries, Micron, they're all trying to move fast. But you don't fix decades of outsourcing in 2 fiscal quarters. Meanwhile, China isn't waiting. It's spending over $30 billion a year on its own semiconductor ecosystem. The goal? Tech independence by 2030. And yeah, they've got a long way to go, but they're not messing around. This isn't just about chips. It's about AI, 5G, and now 6G. Huawei is still banned in most Western countries, but it dominates in Africa, the Middle East, and large parts of Asia. They're writing the code, laying the cables, and setting the standards. While we debate privacy, they install infrastructure. Military, different story, but just as intense. America still has unmatched global reach, 11 aircraft carriers, and nearly 800 overseas bases. But China's playing the regional game perfectly. Their navy, largest in the world by ship count. Their budget, nearly $300 billion this year, and rising fast. They're not trying to beat the US globally, they're trying to dominate their neighborhood so completely that no one questions it. And Taiwan, that's the trigger. The scenario every Pentagon war game fails to solve cleanly. China won't invade tomorrow, but they're practicing like they will. And America's response? More military deals in Asia, more submarines, more presence. It's pressure versus patience. Now the part no one likes to talk about, trust. Global trust. In 2000, nearly 70% of the world's GDP came from Western-aligned nations. Today, that number is down to around 50%. China's rise isn't just economic, it's diplomatic. Countries are tired of lectures. They want roads, energy, loans, and China delivers. No democracy checklist, no IMF strings, just contracts. Efficient, quiet, long-term leverage. So no, this isn't Cold War 2.0, it's not East versus West, communism versus capitalism, it's who controls the platforms, who sets the norms, who owns the future's operating system. And the scariest part? Most people still think this is about borders. It's not. It's about systems, invisible networks, quiet influence. And if you're not paying attention, you're already under someone else's control. But hey, don't panic. You don't need to be a geopolitical analyst to understand what's happening. You just need to stop scrolling for 5 minutes and actually think, because while the world argues over narratives, the future is being built line by line, byte by byte, one semiconductor at a time. And if you're wondering whether America is still in the lead, well, let me ask you this. When was the last time you downloaded an app that wasn't built on American servers, but didn't trace data back to somewhere in Shenzhen? Exactly.